It is sunrise and we are in the Karingani Game Reserve in the southwestern section of Mozambique. We've driven up here and we learned all about the park, and today we are going to patrol a section of the perimeter, and tonight we're going to camp in the bush. So I'm very excited about that. I am getting a lift with someone else because I would like to be able to actually get out and film some of the vehicles, because as I understand that the roads can be quite rough. So those are my things. I'm going to be sleeping in a swag and not a rooftop tent. Show you later when I put it up. It's a small, teeny tiny little human-sized tent with a built-in mattress, and there's a sleeping bag in that bag. So that is a whole bed, a whole house actually.
All right. Just inflating a little bit, so we don't know what to expect today out in the field. If it's going to be a bit rocky, we are a bit too low on tire pressure, so we just actually picked up a little bit of tire pressure. So just we'll see what the rain's actually going to bring, and then we'll decide again on what we're going to do on tire pressures. Cool.
Found a good spot for my stuff with Michelle. She says this is prime dust area in the back of the landy here. This mechanism is apparently the spot where everything comes in, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm really impressed. This landy is quite beautiful, and just check how neat she does pack. Clearly not her first time in the bush.
We were still getting ready to leave when Joe came to call us. They had just seen a kill next to the road.
As we were coming out here, they all were jumping in the road saying hi.
What?
Wild dogs.
What? Let's go, let's go, let's go. I know there's enough space here. I've seen it.
We'll just have to.
That's good.
We can enough. Sure.
Yes.
So exciting.
Karangani, it's a huge game reserve in southern Mozambique. We border South Africa with the Kruger, and we're about 150,000 hectares. There definitely were wild dogs here at some point. But because of the communities, because of the Civil War, probably if they did come through this area, they would have came in, not found much prey, and then beelined it out, maybe dispersing, looking for a space for them. But because Karangani has been able to restore the land, protect this area, we're able to make it a safe place for the second most endangered carnivore in Africa.
Okay, right here, right here. Good on. That's how you want to start a morning with the wild dogs.
In 2019, we brought in a pack of 13 dogs. Since then, they've split into 2 packs and they've been extremely successful. So successful that we were actually able to further contribute to wild dog conservation by sending some of our dogs to Malawi as part of a reintroduction project into southern Malawi. So it's incredible. We're putting Mozambique on the map because our wild dogs have done so well here.
Yeah, it's probably something small like a diker, steamboat.
Such a great start to the morning. We're going to have an epic day.
We just arrived as they were leaving, but at least I did see one running across the road right behind Quentin's car.
We saw them, and it was epic.
We've just seen the wild dogs, and there's a really, really nice clear track here with dogs. You've got 2 lobes on the back pad, and then for the wild dogs, the 2 center toes are fused, and then the 4 toes in total. And if we have a look at this track here, so if we take this and look at the ground here, you've got the 2 lobes at the back, 1, 2, and then here's the toes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then these tiny little sections here, that's their claws. So claw marks present. The coolest thing about this track, and you don't always see it, is seeing these 2 fused toes. You can see that line down the middle there. It's not a great sketch of it. You can't see in the sketch that they're fused, but they are. So awesome to see them.
The easiest way to showcase what I'm talking about in terms of logistical challenges and terrain is to see it. So, remembering we hold 75 kilometers of international boundary fence is our western boundary. And so we have a responsibility and mandate to look after it, both from an illegal immigration perspective. And so we have to patrol not only our eastern boundary from an incursion perspective, but also our western boundary. And of course, to do that is where we start talking challenging terrain. So what I'd like to do is take you guys on a trip at least down some of our eastern boundary to get an idea of what we do from a security perspective, and then up the western boundary, which we are mandated to look after on behalf of the country because we hold this area. And I think just on logistics and time, we won't even make it back in a day. So we'll have to wild camp out there somewhere, and then probably midway up, and then we'll continue to the second half on the western side of the reserve.
I jumped in the landy with Michelle for the day as I was very keen to get to know her a bit better. And I also wanted to know more about Wild Wonderful World. In almost no time, we were faced with the first obstacle.
I think we're at a tree roadblock.
Let's see. So is this something you guys get often?
Oh yeah, often. You see elephants will come down the roads and they'll knock the trees over, block the roads. So often on patrols or when you're out monitoring or any kind of work on these back roads, you're often taking trees out of your way to get through. Because we don't want to drive off the road, because if you drive off the road, it then creates a new path. So you want to keep the roads the way they are without creating more roads around. So you have to remove the obstacles in your way. It's a lot of chopping.
We've got to the stage where we're on top of security, and everything we've done now has been focused around land tenure, maintaining the perimeter fence, securing the animals. So now we need to start developing the reserve. And effectively we have this clean slate. We have a few roads, for example, that we've inherited from past communities or past activity in the area. But for the most part, we haven't put in any roads. Number one, because we want to align them properly. And number two, because we need to focus on where our development nodes are before putting in unnecessary roads. And roads is one of the impacts you can have on both the vegetation and soil that can really destroy or make a place. So at the moment, we sit with the challenge of operating this large reserve with practically zero roads other than those critical for security. And that, in fact, challenges us in other ways, in that we logistically, from our vehicle perspective, have to operate extremely rugged and hardy vehicles and be able to self-maintain them. So our current fleet at the moment are Samuel 20s, Samuel 50s and Land Cruisers. And all of them, as good as they are, I think have met their match in terms of the terrain that we operate in, both under the loads and over the distances. And so we're constantly repairing vehicles. I think if anyone wants to challenge their vehicle, if they think their vehicle's tough, we can show them otherwise. So.
We were expecting the rough terrain, but the amount of stops to clear the way came as a surprise.
Is it done?
It's done, but there'll be more.
That's the nice thing about driving at the back. Is you sometimes miss clearing the road.
Yeah, we're very comfortable in our last place position, and by the time we walk to the obstacle, it's cleared.
Historically, before border walls or border fences or anything like that, elephants during the dry season would move from Kruger into Mozambique. On this side of the Lobambos, it's a late Mesic period, so the land dries out slower on this side than the Kruger side. So you'll notice into the dry season, we're greener longer than a lot of parts of Kruger, and the Lobambos have a huge effect on that. So elephants would come here during the dry season, so there's that movement that then was stopped with the fences. And as Karangani becomes more and more established, you actually see the elephants kind of moving more naturally.
Let's see if we make this one in time.
No, it's done.
Aww.
We didn't. What a bummer.
So we do have lots of elephants, have you seen from the roads? Lots of trees down, trying to always pull the trees out of the way so you can get through the roads there. But yeah, our elephant populations are doing extremely well.
We've driven like 3 meters and there's another tree. I think this is going to be a long day of moving trees.
That's correct. This one seems to have been pretty quick though. We're on our way.
I'm just glad we're not driving number one vehicle. They're in and out like yo-yos.
By mid-morning, we had cleared so many trees that I was even excited just to stop for a different reason.
Why?
Yeah, I picked up some wine.
Holy gamoly, man. Where did you get catch that, bud?
Don't force me out of bed in your society. Don't push me down the road you've been down. Don't try to fix my head, it's just your anxiety. Don't hush me now, cause I just wanna shout.
The cool thing about Karangani is it's a fairly new game reserve. So we're kind of having the opportunity to learn from other game reserves, their mistakes, their successes, and we can get it right the first time. It's also a massive property of 150,000 hectares. We have many different habitat types.
Forward, eh? Back it. I didn't say that.
Plus, since we're new, we don't have infrastructure, the roads, the tourism here yet, and it's just pristine wilderness. And the restoration efforts, the conservation that has gone into this place to build it what it is absolutely amazing. It's all scientific-based information, and they're just doing it right.
Key to Karangani is partnership. In everything we've done is partnership. So we're always looking for like-minded partners that have this understanding of the value of conservation, and particularly landscape conservation. And one of the reasons we invited Ironman to come visit us. I mean, they're renowned for their suspension, and we go through suspension. They promote conservation, and we promote conservation. So, you know, collaboration's the game. So if we can collaborate in partnership with like-minded people, then we can get to the end result.
We do sell off-road gear and overlanding gear, so we are all passionate people and we love the outdoors, and wherever we can get involved with a bit of conservation work, we actually grasp the opportunity and see where we can assist these companies in any way possible, if it's product or discounted product or a bit of 4x4 training or training on our product or gear, to assist them in any way and help them to achieve the goal at the end of the day.
We're driving through a beautiful little section of it. Looks like a koppie, and we just saw a rose eagle owl flying overhead and kudus running away in the distance on the rocks. It's stunning, stunning scenery.
So beautiful.
But all the while we're thinking it must be a really tricky road in the wet season.
I don't know how these guys do this patrol. They patrol this road every single day. We've been driving now, we left at 7, it's 12:30. I mean, and we're working. I don't even know, they're so busy navigating the road and the rocks and the terrain. I don't know how they even manage to patrol it at the same time.
And it's time to stop for lunch.
Woohoo! Oh, look, we're the only car with the shade. Wasn't that nice of them? Try not roll into the crop-infested water when we get out the car there.
I'll try. I do feel like we're rolling over to the right.
Oh, we are? It's when I open my door, I'll just like slide straight into the water. I'm still here.
Gourmet sandwiches, that's what we're doing. We've got some red cabbage, I think baby spinach, cold meats, hams, onions, cheeses. It's like lunch fit for kings.
Where are we?
We are along the Nwanetsiana River, about 800 meters from east of the Kruger's park boundary and the South African international border with Mozambique.
So close.
Very close. We'll get up there after lunch.
I'm really glad that Michelle brought us to Karangani, and the two of us were having a ball in the landy. I got to ask all my questions about Wild Wonderful World, and I find their story very inspiring.
Grant and I were working as guides in the Sabi Sand in South Africa, and I'd been working as a guide for about 6 years, Grant about sort of 10, 12 years or so. And Although we felt that we were playing an important role from an educational point of view, telling guests about conservation and what it meant to be able to protect these animals in these beautiful game reserves, we were also educating about some of the threats that wildlife faced, which was very, very important for us to spread that message. However, we both felt that we wanted to do more to help and get involved on the ground, and it was quite difficult to make that transition out of lodge guiding and straight into conservation and wildlife research. So we decided to jump in our landy and travelled overland for a year from South Africa all the way up to Uganda and back, and volunteered for conservation projects along the way. So everything from anti-poaching units, rehabilitation centres, community projects, really to get an idea of what the different threats and challenges on the ground were, and more importantly, how we could help.
There's an elephant in the riverbed. They are my favourite animal.
Yeah, me too.
Isn't?
Just, they do so many different things that you can sit and watch them the whole day. So just getting an idea of what's going on in all these different countries was very helpful for us to then formulate an idea on how we could help going forward. That's when Wild Wonderful World was born. We came back to South Africa and set up initially as a tour operator. And the idea behind that was to run conservation safaris and put all profits into a trust where we could then support conservation projects going forward. But 3 buffaloes lying in the burnt section on the right. I think it's 3. Yeah, a couple of Duggar boys, 3 big males. Jeepers, they just blend in. Can you imagine walking through that? Nice. Now we've seen 2 of the big 5, Ellies and Buff, and some beautiful birds so far. Obviously, lots more game as we're moving towards the river here now than Monetsi. So a few years down the line, we have got our conservation safaris going really, really well, and we've taken a greater focus on the Conservation Trust. So we have a number of ways where guests or people from all around the world can now directly donate straight into the trust. And we also have a shop on our website where you can decide where you want your money to be spent and choose a conservation product, whether that be a ground hornbill artificial nest, a collar for an elephant, a GPS to assist with anti-poaching, helicopter hours. Depending on where your personal passions lie, that's where you can put your funds. And then we directly report back in the form of a written report with photographs and videos so that you've got proof of where your donation was spent.
The roads were getting worse and worse, but the scenery was becoming more and more breathtaking around every turn.
I remember the day when we started talking. We were kids and I knocked down all of your mobiles, but you did not seem to mind at all. We took our bikes to the lake after school each day and skipped many stones from the beach, and one thing you said was listen, I will have you back away.
There is now so little road that we are all just bashing through the bundus, and we lost Ellery for a second, but we're now so slowly getting back together. But there is no road here. We are literally bashing through the bundus.
We're gonna have guns of steel after this.
I know where we belong. Haven't changed a bit in my heart. Your words have never been wrong. You are my own safety zone. You're solid like a granite stone.
What's that stuff on the windscreen over there?
There is a bottle of wine or 2 in the roof tent for emergency use only. And with the extreme rocky roads, we had this afternoon, it looks like there was a small accident in the roof, and we're terrified to open the roof tent. And here is the evidence. It did look like a bird had been hit though. It looked like something had bleeding down. Okay, good, so let's go get some wood.
Let me just see what it is you saw. No, what are you talking about? It's not so bad. I'm joking. Well, it's here.
Yeah, but look, you're not looking in the right angle on the roof of the car.
Okay, that looks a bit bad. Well, that's definitely only one bottle that broke, so there will still be one more bottle up there, I think.
Traversing along the fence line on what was supposed to be a road, but I think by most people's description would have been as off track as you can get. we definitely mounted some rocks. We did a river crossing. Hillary's gonna go first. He's gonna cross the river here. There's a massively deep pool on the left-hand side, so hopefully he doesn't slide into that. We're on standby with recovery gear, but if he gets through, we're all following through. So wish us luck. Oh, that's so bad. I got stuck in the Land Rover. Grant would be very disappointed, though I will say it was because I was the fourth vehicle through and everyone with their very heavy vehicles made the track very deep. So I bottomed out on the differential. No, we have not already started. The red wine droplet coming out of the roof tent.
Oh, so a bottle broke.
Oh, no.
But you got a swag, yeah.
No.
How is that?
We'll fun. We'll make a plan. I'll be sucking wine out of my sheets all night.
You're just gonna suck on your blanket the whole time.
Dead quiet on here. That's how bad your roads are. So please, everyone, we really need funding.
For recovery points.
Don't really have a reason why, but I don't even have to try. This feeling is here to stay. Let's keep it going all night. Don't stop till we see sunlight. We've been drinking all that cheap wine all night. Acting stupid, but it feels so right. I know that we will all be just fine.
It was a huge adventure for the day. And yeah, I think it was very eye-opening for all of us to really get a glimpse as to what the challenges on the ground are here in Karangani.
This is going to be magical.
Look at the red on the rocks. Oh, there's a baboon. Wow, look at this water.
Where we're camping.
Incredible, so excited. Wow.
What Michelle and Grant have been doing through Wild Wonderful World is actually amazing stuff. It's making such a contribution in conservation. Even just finding the funds for one elephant collar, and they've done tons of elephant collars, but just the one elephant collar makes a big difference. Every little bit helps. It's a huge contribution.
Grant had been flying for Mozambique wildlife helicopters, and he couldn't join us for the drive today as he had to be on standby with the helicopter. but only during daylight hours, and he was not about to miss out on a night at this special spot. We sent him our coordinates as soon as we arrived, and he flew in to join us.
You take 5 hours to get here, and Grant takes off and he's here in 11 minutes.
I know.
Not 5 hours, like 12 hours. We drove for 12 hours.
This is the way to arrive to do some camping.
What a beautiful spot. It took a long time to drive to here. I think we drove a loop and then we came back over the river. We crossed this morning and now we are next to the river. It's really beautiful. There's a hippo right there in the water. Everyone's really excited to be here. The sun is setting really quick, so we're losing time, but I'm quite keen to try and get that swag up. I think that's going to be exciting. And I'm very curious to see what's gonna come out of Michelle's rooftop tent with the wine leaking out the side.
Are you waiting for
I'm waiting.
my moment?
I want to see what's going on in there.
Oh, I don't. This must be the corner.
Smells good. So far, so good.
What wine, everybody? The relief. Look, I haven't seen the other side. What's the other side look like?
Oh, dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's bad.
Really?
It's bad.
Oh.
I think we can paint some trees in red wine and it'll be fine.
You're joking! Oh my god! What's going on? No, it's all good.
Moment of truth.
Do I believe it? Oh. It was well padded with pillows and the duvet. That's how bad our roads were today.
I think it's gonna be like a wet tonight, but everything should be fine. Maybe you should just lay it out on the ground there in front of the chopper and start the blades.
Start the big fan.
So while I'm trying to see what's happening in Michelle's tent, these two are kind enough to put a ground sheet out for me. Thank you, Donkey Dion.
See me.
Donkey Quentin. I love Egyptian geese. It's awesome to wake up like that. I slept like a baby in this tent. Got woken up with a cup of coffee. Good morning, friends.
Morning.
How are you?
So good, thank you.
Yeah. Oh.
Sleep nicely.
Yeah.
How was your little tent?
It was so cool. It was very cool. The guys were even cold and I
Quentin, you're in
wasn't.
it.
Really,
Give me a smile over your shoulder.
I can't get away from the photos, man.
It looks amazing.
How did you guys sleep in your wine tent?
Good.
So well. All those fumes just helped us drift right off.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Are you on your way, Grant?
I am.
Yeah.
Do some checks and stuff and then going.
But you'll be home in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Cool. Have a good day.
You too.
Later.
See you later. Bye-bye. And then I heard something like there's croissants with scrambled eggs and bacon happening. Good morning.
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 Did you sleep well?
Oh, I slept like a dead rock. How did you guys sleep?
I also slept well, very well. Sure. Did you hear the lions this morning?
I did.
So what's for breakfast this morning, guys?
We have got croissants, tomatoes, cheese, bacon, and we're gonna make some scrambled eggs. Chef Dion, what else are we making?
That's better.
And then coffee, rusks, with the beautiful view of the Nwanatsi River that we're camping along here. There's some hippos grunting in the background too.
There are very few things as special as a decadent breakfast in the wilderness, and this was definitely one of the best I had ever had. We took our sweet time enjoying the beautiful scenery and good company, and then we headed out for day 2 of driving the reserve.
Breakfast of champions.
So good.
And so we're off. I have a different driving buddy today. I decided I'm jumping in with Dion because my kidneys are shaken to their ends from the Land Rover yesterday. So I think I just want to see how much better it is in the Ford, if it is any better. Listen to me saying better in a Ford in the bush, like I don't know any better.
Somebody's going to be walking.
Let's just see. I just want to see what the ride is like in this car. What was the ride like yesterday?
It was really like rocky terrain, and it was bumpy, and it was hot outside, and we did like proper bunderbessing. I mean, there was some sighting of road, but not all the time. I think we really made road or built a pathway to get here today, but it was really harsh yesterday, I think. And it makes, I think, life difficult for these people just trying to protect rhinos, but you have to get this uphill battle with the terrain you have to cover, so it makes it difficult.
And here's the water crossing again.
Again. Go for it.
Pretty much anywhere in the south is almost inaccessible in the reserve through the wet season. You have to drive out and around. And then the road to drive down to the south outside of the reserve also becomes inaccessible. We have lots of that black cotton soil, so even when it looks dry, there's a good chance it's not dry underneath. And if you get in that fish, it's fun to get out. Yeah, so the wet season, a lot of the roads are closed. We actually had last year so much rain that one of our scout camps was inaccessible by any road access whatsoever. So we had to use a helicopter to bring rations to those scouts so they could eat food. So it does get quite hectic in the wet season here.
It's quite cool to know that we are driving in Mozambique, and this is the fence, and right next to the fence is South Africa, or more precisely, the Kruger National Park. This last section of road that we've been driving for the last, I'd say like an hour and a half or 2 hours, maybe less, was all sand road, so that's definitely a lot better. I think it's a much calmer road. But somehow I feel like we need to start getting closer to camp now. But it's a complete blind guess. I have no idea where we are. I have no idea how far we have to go.
From everything that I had heard about Karangani and learned and read about previously, it's been incredible actually seeing their operations. And I think until you get to a place where you see their boots on the ground, you see their canine unit, you see their operations room, and how much effort has gone into setting up a project like that, it's very difficult to understand through reading an annual report or anything like that. I mean, what they have achieved at Karangani is incredible. They're creating a resource that Mozambique can be really proud of.
The drive was definitely more comfortable in the Ford, but the roads were just as challenging, and we were all really relieved to get back to base.
I've been here for the last 10 years, and I'd like to think that really started getting things off the ground. Karangani is a unique place. It's a challenge, and I often say to people that it's one of those few places, both in location and what you're trying to achieve, that will challenge every bit of experience you've ever had in your life. Whether it's a childhood experience and how you dealt with something emotionally, whether it's a work or professional experience in terms of managing ecology, managing people, staff in a foreign country, in a different language, it is incredibly challenging. But at the same time, to see something grow over time and to see people grow with it, people that were unable to even visualize what we were talking about. And I mean, we're not there yet, but in the last 10 years, to see people and their understanding change, it's been, I mean, I've been a part of it and I'm honored to be a part of it, but it is my life. So it's tough, but it is what I do and it's my life. So I don't see it as a job or an appointment. I probably unrealistically take ownership of it. Yeah, it's certainly my life. And it hopefully will continue to be until I see it to its end.
Yeah, that was 174 kilometers, and it took us 2 full days to do it. And we didn't even go to the worst sections of the perimeter, so I can imagine that it chows a vehicle. Ellery said that some of the patrol or security vehicles do 3,000 to 5,000 kilometers in a month. So yes, I can imagine that these roads are extremely vehicle heavy. So now we are back at our base camp. So it's not open to tourists yet, so it's not a lodge or anything like that, but these are huts specifically built for visitors or researchers or people like us. So I'm very thankful for that, because it would have been a little bit hectic if we had to drive and camp, which is what we do when we overland, but this is a very nice luxury to have. So tomorrow morning the real excitement starts, because we are going to be collaring an elephant. I've never been involved where an elephant has been darted or collared, so that is going to be very exciting. I cannot wait. After I've had a shower just now, we'll probably just make a fire and have an early evening, because it was quite a rough drive for 2 days. But so for now, that's me, I'm out. For those of you who already subscribed, thank you very, very much. We appreciate the support. And remember, if you don't, please subscribe and click the little notification bell so you don't actually miss any of the new videos that we post. Thanks for watching. And remember to check out the next video, because that elephant darting is going to be awesome, I have no doubt. Cheers.